I let my cousin stay with me after her house burned down. I gave her my bed, my clothes, my trust. 2 months later, I got a notice from the IRS. Someone filed taxes in my name. When I asked her, she said, "It's just numbers. Don't act like you never bent the rules." I reported it. But before the case went through, she vanished. What she left behind in my closet, though. I live alone in Fort Wayne, Indiana. 1-bedroom apartment, 3rd floor, near the railroad tracks. Quiet enough. Not fancy. But mine. Back in February, my cousin Jenna called me just after 2 a.m. I was half asleep, thought maybe something happened to her mom. But she was sobbing. She said her house caught fire, something with the wiring. She and her dog made it out, but everything else was gone. We weren't close anymore. We used to be, growing up. I have memories of her sitting on my bedroom floor painting her nails with my mom yelling down the hall about the smell. Summers at Grandma's, passing notes about boys. But the last few years, she was always kind of drifting. No job stuck. Bad relationships. Still, when she said she had nowhere to go, I told her she could come here. She showed up the next day with a plastic bin, a gym bag, and her dog. She looked exhausted. She smelled like smoke. I gave her my bed and took the couch. She cried again that night and said she'd only be here for a couple weeks. I told her not to worry about it. At first, it felt good to help. She ate everything I cooked, said thank you too much, even folded my laundry one time. I gave her some old clothes that didn't fit me right anymore, just t-shirts and sweats. She slept a lot, said she needed to recover. I figured that made sense. She started using my laptop to job hunt. I didn't think twice about it. She said she had a few leads, a receptionist gig, maybe a cashier position at Meijer, but nothing ever stuck. After about 3 weeks, I noticed she was up late, long after I'd gone to sleep. Sometimes I'd hear her laughing softly from the bedroom. My internet started acting weird. Pages loading slow. A few sites in my history I didn't recognize, tax sites, email generators, weird forums. I asked her once and she brushed it off. Probably a pop-up. I didn't push it. Then in April, I got a letter from the IRS. I almost threw it out. I thought maybe it was just something routine. But it wasn't. Someone had filed a tax return under my name. My social security number. Except the income numbers were all wrong, way off from what I actually made at the clinic. I sat on it for a day. Tried to convince myself it was a mistake. I even called the IRS and waited on hold for over 2 hours. They confirmed the return had already been submitted and flagged. Someone had used my full identity. That night, I asked Jenna directly. I said, "Did you use my name for something?" She didn't even flinch. Didn't look away from her phone. She just said, "It's just numbers. Don't act like you never bent the rules." I didn't know what to say. "It's fraud," I said. She rolled her eyes. "It's a refund. The government can spare it." I reported it the next morning. I called the IRS again. Filled out a fraud affidavit. Put alerts on my credit. I told her that night that I'd had to report it. She just stared at me. Then she went into the bedroom and slammed the door. The next day, I went to work. When I got home, she was gone. No note. No call. Nothing. Just gone. I thought that was the end of it. But then I started cleaning. She'd left the closet full. I figured maybe she left in a hurry. I opened the duffel bag tucked in the back. That's when everything changed. It was full of envelopes. Not junk mail, real mail. Bank letters. Insurance forms. Government benefits. None of them had her name on them. Not one. It was like she'd collected identities. Built a little library of other people's lives. Names I'd never heard. Addresses from other cities. I even found a notebook where she'd written down account numbers and passwords. Some of them were underlined. And at the very bottom, a box. Inside, my high school ID. My birth certificate. A prepaid card with my name on it, but a different address than mine. She wasn't just using my name for a refund. She was building a second version of me. Maybe more than one. I gave the whole bag to the police. I filled out every form. I even took time off work to meet with a detective. But they never found her. And now, sometimes, I still get emails from credit monitoring services. Someone trying to open an account. A flagged tax return. A new address linked to my name. She's gone. But not really. I thought giving everything to the police would be the end of it. I thought they'd track her down, press charges, clear my name. That's not what happened. The detective assigned to the case, Officer McHale, was kind, but tired. He said it was bigger than just identity theft. Said it might be tied to a larger fraud ring. I asked what that meant, and he just said, "It's not just your name she was using." The problem was, Jenna had used a fake last name when she checked into the emergency shelter the night her house burned down. No one could track her from there. No car registered. No social media after March. Just gone. But someone started sending me things. It started small. A manila envelope on my doorstep. No return address. Inside, a printed screenshot of a dating profile, mine. Or rather, someone using my name, my photo from 5 years ago, and a new city, Toledo, Ohio. The job listed said freelance financial consultant. I work in medical billing. 2 days later, I got a voicemail. A man's voice. He said, "Hey, I think we went out once. You never called me back, but I just saw your face on this scam report site. Did you get hacked or something?" Then one night, a woman showed up at my door. Middle-aged. She was holding her phone in one hand and shaking. "Are you Jenna?" I told her no. I told her Jenna was my cousin. I asked how she got my address. She said, "Your name's on a PayPal account she's been using to collect money for fire victims in Ohio." She said she lost her baby in a house fire. "You're listed as her sister." I wanted to throw up. I gave her McHale's number. Told her everything I could. But she didn't leave right away. She just stood there in the hall and said, "She messaged my son. He's 17. That night, I couldn't sleep. I searched everything. I made new passwords. I shut down accounts. I called Jenna's old number, disconnected. Then I opened my laptop. She'd left one file saved on my desktop. I hadn't noticed before. It was just called Me. Inside was a folder with dozens of photos. Photos of me. Me brushing my teeth. Me asleep on the couch. Me walking to my car. Some were taken from across the room. Some through the window. Some I couldn't even understand how she got. One video was just me doing laundry. A full 10 minutes. No sound. Just me folding clothes in the living room. She was watching me. And I think she still is. After I found those photos and the video, I unplugged my laptop and threw it in the closet. I couldn't even look at it. I sat on the edge of the couch and stared at the wall for an hour. My skin itched. I felt like I'd been living in a glass box without knowing it. I called Officer McHale again. Told him everything, the folder, the video, the pictures. He came by with another officer and took the laptop. Promised to escalate it. But I could tell from his face he didn't have much hope. "She's smart," he said. "Covers her tracks. This isn't her first time." That stuck with me. Not her first time. So, I started digging. I called my aunt, Jenna's mom. We don't talk much. She's always defended Jenna, even when she shoplifted in high school or when she drained her boyfriend's bank account a few years back. But this time was different. I said, "Do you know where she is?" There was a long pause. Then she said, "What did she do this time?" That made me pause. I told her about the taxes, the fake accounts, the stolen mail, the people she scammed. My aunt didn't say much. But at the end, she whispered, "She did the same thing to me." Turns out, 2 years ago, Jenna moved back home for a few months. Her mom helped her get back on her feet, gave her access to some family paperwork so she could get a job. Then one day her mom's credit tanked. New cards opened. Cash advances. Jenna left in the middle of the night. My aunt didn't file a police report. She said, "I didn't want to ruin her life." I hung up, furious. Then 1 week later, something happened that shook me worse than anything else. I got a text from a random number. No name. Just, "Check your closet again." It was 3:12 a.m. I didn't move for a full minute. Then I stood up, grabbed a flashlight, and opened the closet door. Everything was just as I'd left it. But when I pulled out the old coat I hadn't worn in months, something fell out of the inside pocket. A flash drive. I plugged it into a friend's computer the next day at work. I didn't want it touching mine again. There were audio files. Dozens. Recordings of me. Phone calls. Work meetings on Zoom. Conversations I'd had in my apartment. There was even one of me crying on the couch after she left. I was talking to myself, saying, why did I let her in? She'd been recording me for months. I played one file labeled, April 5, bedroom. It was her voice. She was talking to someone. She said, she still doesn't know. I have everything. If this doesn't work, I'll use her for something else. She's perfect for the next one. That's when I realized I wasn't the only target. I was the prototype. I called Mikhail again, gave him the flash drive. He didn't say much, just took it and promised to follow up. But then I stopped hearing from him. No calls. No updates. 3 weeks passed. Then one day I got a letter at work. No return address. Inside, a single photo, a recent photo, of Officer Mikhail having dinner with Jenna. At first, I thought it had to be a mistake. I stared at the photo for almost 10 minutes. It wasn't grainy. It wasn't vague. It was clear as day, Officer Mikhail, sitting across from Jenna at a small table in what looked like a hotel restaurant. They weren't just sharing a meal. He was smiling. She was leaning in like they knew each other well. I couldn't breathe. I took the photo straight to the police station. The desk sergeant looked uncomfortable when I explained why I was there. He said Mikhail was on extended leave and didn't have any contact forwarding info. I asked for someone else to take over the case. The man just said, there's not much we can do unless there's new evidence. I handed him the photo. He took it, barely glanced at it, and said, could be an old friend. Could be nothing. I walked out shaking. I felt like I was losing my grip on what was real. I started checking everywhere, Reddit threads, forums for victims of fraud, whistleblower sites. I searched for patterns. And then I found something. A woman in Illinois, different name, different age, described almost the exact same thing that happened to me. Her cousin stayed with her after a breakup. Gave her a place to stay. A few months later, the woman's credit was wrecked, her accounts compromised. Her guest vanished. There were 3 comments under the post. Each one sounded familiar. I messaged her directly. She responded 3 days later. She said the name her cousin used wasn't Jenna, but Janelle, and that she always mentioned an old friend in law enforcement who looked out for her. That's when I realized this wasn't just theft. It was a whole setup, a system, a routine. Jenna wasn't running from her past. She was perfecting it. I sent the photo of Mikhail and Jenna to the woman in Illinois. She wrote back one word, him. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, someone had slashed my back tires. No note. No witnesses. Just a quiet warning. I started staying at a friend's place across town. I changed phones. I left my laptop in a locked cabinet at work. I stopped checking my mail without gloves. But it didn't stop. One afternoon, I came home to grab some things. And taped to my door was a sticky note. Just 5 words. We're not done, little sister. People tell me to move on. That I should let it go. That she's probably long gone. But every time I hear a noise outside my window, or get a letter with no return address, I wonder if she's still playing the game. And the worst part is, I still don't know how much of me she's already used.